good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone got some lunch. So what we're going to do here is go over a few of my favorite command line tools. And as I'm doing this, if you have any questions or you want to try something, we will try it and see how it goes. Okay. So my name is Pratik Patel. I lead the developer relations team at Azul Systems. And what Azul does is we make Java virtual machines. We have something called Azul Zulu, which is a 100% free OpenJDK build that gets over 150 million downloads a year. So it's quite popular. And we also have a high performance VM, which is proprietary, called Azul Prime. And we also have a new product that's come out recently called Intelligence Cloud, which does things like vulnerability detection at runtime, unused code detection, again at runtime, and lots of different things similar to that. So if you're interested in learning about that, we can talk afterwards, or you can find me downstairs. All right. So let's talk about some command lines. What we're going to roughly do is, you can see at the bottom left, is we're going to find some video files, use ffmpeg to process them, move them to a folder, and do a few other things. Okay, so one of the tools that I really like instead of ls, right? Everyone is familiar with ls, which allows you to do that, but there's another tool that I use called eza, and it is almost 100% the same, as the ls command, but there are some nice little things that you can do with it. For example, this, let me go back actually. Okay, so there's the ls command, and if I do EZA, it will pull up the same thing, and we do it with -L. Obviously, you're familiar with what ls-L does. But one of the things I like about it, for example, is I have an alias here for LL, which essentially sorts the directories, groups the directories first. So I find this to be handy, so that when you're just trying to find a file or find a directory, instead of getting all of the directories mixed in alphabetical order, you can do this specific alias right here, or call this command right here, right? And it will sort the directories first. So it makes it a little bit easier to find things. If you're looking for directories or files, you can just kind of scroll and you can see that's in alphabetical order. Okay. Another command I really like, actually, which is similar to that, is called watchexec. Okay. So what we'll do, let me go into my scratch folder here. Okay. All right. You can see what's in here right now. Let me remove this file. This is my test file from earlier. Remove, yes. Okay. So I'm going to do watchexec, and I'm going to tell it to run the EZA or ls command in this folder. Now, what watchexec does is whenever that folder is modified, it goes and does something, and you tell it what to do. In this case, we're saying just print something out, right? So we'll go run this now, and you can see we have one file in here right now. And let me move this over a bit. I'm not sure why it's so far over like that. Reorient my screen a little bit. Okay. So now if I go into that same folder and I say touch hello, you'll see what happens is it has triggered that, basically that ls command to print something. So this is useful for a number of different things, right? So say you want to run unit tests from the command line when they're new. Basically, when you make changes within a folder, it will go and run the unit test for a specific folder or for your entire project. It can kick off a build also. So, for example, if you build web and JavaScript projects, anytime you can say watch specifically for like JavaScript, HTML, or CSS files, and whenever any of those changes, go and run npm build if you're in the JavaScript world. But for other things in general, this is useful for building out a CI pipeline to do other tasks that you might not care about. But we'll use this a bit later to move process files from this folder into another folder. Okay. Now, let's talk about the next one here, which is ffmpeg. How many people are familiar with ffmpeg? Anybody? Okay, a couple of folks. So what ffmpeg is useful for is it allows you to go and do processing, command line processing of video files. So let's pull up a video file real quick. Okay, so this, I know that font is really small, but you'll see the video in just a second. Okay. So this is the city I live in. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, in the southeast U.S., and this is just a time lapse of downtown. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use ffmpeg to convert this file. This file is 780p, if I remember correctly. All right, what is it? right? So yeah, 780p, and we're going to convert this to 480p, right? And I'm not going to try to type all this out. Actually, we can give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's kill this command first. Make sure we're in the right directory. Okay, ffmpeg. The input is Atlanta time lapse. Okay, there it is. And then we're going to say scale that to 480p or 480. We're going to copy the video. Dash C means copy, and then we'll say copy the video. We're going to use a specific library, the X264, which is a video codec lib, to do this. Okay, set the time frame difference to 0. We're going to reset any parameters. We're going to set this to very slow so that it does, so we don't lose any quality on this. We're going to copy the audio, and then we're going to say Atlanta time lapse dash 480p. Okay, so let's go run this and let's see what, oops, I messed something up obviously. Oh yeah, that's right. All right, another quick tip. How many people run Mac OS for the dev machine? Right, most people, right. So another quick tip is like I need to insert something here, and obviously what I could do is, oops, I don't know what happened there. Okay, I need to jump to right here to add those extra commands that I forgot to put in the VCF. Okay, so instead of like scrolling, you know, all the way back here like this, taking time, what you can do is you can hit the Option key, and you can see the cursors change to a cross instead of the standard pointer, right? So I can click right here, and it will jump me to that exact place, which is kind of nice. Okay, so VF scale, and let's go run this. Okay, hopefully that's right. And of course, I'm not even going to try to do this. This is a very complicated command. Okay, so no such time. Okay, I misspelled Atlanta when I originally did this. Now it should work. Okay, we jump to here, fix this, my little misspelling in the typo, and now this is running, and you can see the speed at which it's running at the very bottom. It's processing at about 2x the actual speed of this specific file. So I think this is 36 seconds. This should take, I don't know, about 15 to 17 seconds to complete. And it gives you this output to tell you how many frames per second. It's done now. So now if we look at this, you can see that we have this 480 file. And let's run the original first. Okay, so this is the original running at 720p. If we take the time-lapse version and drop it on top, you'll see that it's about, well, whatever. It's at 480p now instead of 720p. Okay, so this is a nice command to do all sorts of things. You can also, with ffmpeg, you can do overlays. So if you have like a JPEG or a PNG file and you have a video and you want to put that overlay on top of the video, it will do that. For example, you can convert between all the different formats. We just did MP4 to MP4, but you can convert from MP4 to, what's the video codec that Google uses on the Android phone? Does anybody remember? It's like something weird. It's like, what's that? No, not HVEC. It's like 3GP or something like that. Some weird format. Like, you know, if you have one of these and you send it to someone on iPhone, it's like a different video format. They sometimes can't open it, right? So anyways, this is a great command. I've used this tool quite a bit, especially for doing like batch video processing. When I put together a bunch of videos and I want to put an overlay on it to upload to YouTube, just throw all the videos in a folder and then run a command to go and process all of them, put an overlay on or adjust the resolution or whatever it may be, right? I know YouTube kind of does some of that, but sometimes doing your overlays yourself is a little bit easier, all right? So another command that I really like for essentially queuing jobs is something called pueue. And what we have to do is you have to brew install it on a Mac or whichever platform you're running on, go and install it. It's not included by default. And it runs a daemon in the background. Okay, so let's go and see what we currently have on the queue, right? So there's nothing on the task list right now. But this is useful for doing multi-stage things. So you want to do something, and once that finishes, you want to do something else. And once that finishes, you want to do something else, right? So you basically want to queue up things on the command line. Again, this is useful for doing various different like build tools or build processes, whatever you have. But in this case, what we're going to do is, well, let's just run a quick command here, right? So I have an alias here for add, and the double dashes here basically means that if you have like a command line or if you have flags, then go and put that in there. Okay, so we've added that into our queue. Let's go, oh, not list, it's status. Okay, so you can see it was successful, and then we can go and look at the log for ID of 0 to see what the log was. So you can see the command ran in the background. It ran immediately in the background when I did that. And let's go and actually use the ffmpeg command, because this took about, what, 10-15 seconds to run. So let's go run that and add it to the queue. Okay, let's go here. All right, again, pq add, and we're going to put the same ffmpeg command we used before to create that video file. Okay, so let's go run this. Okay, new task added. Let's see what the status is. Misspelled that. Okay, you can see that there's the command, where it's running, what time it started, and we can also go now again, and if we don't want to just see the output of the log file, log, that's task number 1, right? We can, it'll print the last 15 lines as you see right here. Okay, it looks like we have a little bit of a problem though. It says file, blah, 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 already exist, overwrite, yes or no. Okay, so in this case, what I've done is that I already have this file. Well, let's just print it out here. The output file already exists, or the same file already exists. So I need to delete the file or tell it to overwrite it or whatever. But what I'm going to do just to demonstrate this, I'm going to say pq kill. Well, let's pull up the status first, make sure we kill the right thing. Okay, so it's still running because it's hung, it's waiting for some kind of user input. So what I'll do in this case is I'll just say kill 1. Okay, tasks are being killed, and let's do a status. Now the task is gone, and you can see it shows that it's killed instead of just removed from the queue. And I'll go in and delete that file now. Okay, let's go delete it. And let's run that command again. Okay, now that should be running in the background. Right, let's do a status. Okay, it says it's running. Let's double check it's running. Another command that you can use with PQ is you can say follow that, which is basically like a tail, right? So you can see we're getting the same output as we did when we ran from the command line, and it's running here. Now it's finished. So the tail finished here, and of course here is our file, and of course it'll be exactly the same as what we saw before. So I won't play it again. Okay, so this is quite handy. And finally, I have a couple minutes. How many people are familiar with the find command in Unix? Okay, hopefully everybody is, but this is a super useful command. There are lots and lots of different options for it, but let's say we want to find all directories that are under here, right? So we can say find dot dash type D, and that will go print all the directories that we have under here. And we can also do something a little bit more useful. Let's go back into our Scratch folder. Let's say one of the things that we wanted to do was, after we processed all these video files, go find all the processed video files and then move them into a specific folder. So I'll say, actually, let's just use the pq command to do this. All right, let's nuke this file first. rm Atlanta timelapse 480. Okay, let's nuke that, and let's pull up our pq command. Okay, let's have this go and start. So I'm going to say process that, and then mkdir finished. So that will run as a second task. And then once that is done, we'll say find everything in this folder that's a type of file named star, what do I call it? 480p, right? 480p star dash exec mv, and we use the those parens to basically do a substitution. Mv that into the finished folder. Let's close that, and also let's do a print. Let's see what happens. Hopefully I did that right. All right, let's just write it like this. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we do pq status. Okay, oh, it failed. What did I do wrong? Let me just try to run this from the command line. Let's see what we got here. Okay, it did create our finished folder from the queue. Let's see if there's anything in there. There's nothing in there. So find dash name star 480p star dash exec mv that stuff into the finish folder, and let's see what happens. No terminating. I didn't need that after all. I guess I need to escape it. Okay, so I'm going to run that. I forgot to escape it. Okay, so now it ran. I forgot to escape the semicolon at the end. So let's go check our finish folder and see what we got. And of course, it's not there. What's that? Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank you. You're right. I didn't put 480p. I just put 480 there. Okay, now it should work. Or identical. Okay, whatever. It's already in there. Okay, so there we go. If we go look at the finish folder, our file should be in there. Okay, there you go. Some command line tools. Hopefully you found one of these interesting. And my time is up, so I'm going to stop. Are there any questions before the next lightning session starts? Nope. All right. Well, thank you for coming. Hope you enjoyed that.